Hey, how's it going? Well, I have had a very interesting 72 hours. Yesterday, I tried to do a video and my phone would not let me record, and I cannot find the reason. I thought it was the SD card was full. It's not. The storage on the phone is close to full, but I switched it to the SD card, which has plenty of space, so I don't know why it keeps kicking me out. It'll let me go like a good 20 minutes and let me get going well into the video, saying some great stuff that I can never recover, and then it kicks me out and I didn't get everything said that I wanted to say. So that is not making me totally happy. And then I thought, okay, well, here's what I'm going to do. Make sure the volume is all the way up on this thing. So hopefully that wasn't too low. If it was, turn it up. Anyway, I couldn't do it. Tried a bunch of times yesterday, and then other stuff was going on, which is making, like, the phone, the card reading was tied to both my daily reading, but then the cards that I pulled when I was shuffling flew right into my face. Not up in the air, in my face, which, you know, I'm here, and so they had to come back and get my face. But that's what they did. Will you come on, you? I'm so like, but I'm gonna do this. Dang it, I'm determined. So I gave up. I tried to do the reading of the cards from yesterday 6 different times, and it was enough. Like, I just finally started doing it on here, but I had to keep pausing because I kept getting interrupted. Like, it was insane, the number of interruptions. I couldn't believe it. And it was like over and over, like, maybe you shouldn't do this, I guess. So, when I went to review the playback, I discovered that each time I paused, it didn't. It looked like it had. I checked the, whatever you call the counter there at the bottom. There's not a, like, I don't know what it is the past few days. Everything I touch is not reacting to, it's not reacting the way I'm expecting it to. Like, I'm pressing labeled buttons and they're not doing what I'm expecting them to do, and it's like, what? So finally, I give up. I'm not meant to talk about those cards and what I had to say about them, because there was a definite personal nature to the whole reading, and maybe the cards were just meant for me, but what good is that? If I can't share what I got? It was just a situation that I ended up having to end, which makes me sad because it was like ideal, and I'd actually literally specifically prayed for the things in it to happen, and they did. And I've talked about this, where when you're wanting something and you actually manifest it, you have to be specific, like you have a monkey's paw or you're talking to a genie. And I knew that, like, okay, you got what you want, but it might not be, like, exactly to your specifications, because that's just not how people and things work. They got their own ideas, and events manifest things all of their own with nothing to do with you. So there's all kinds of other factors, and even though there was so much in the plus column, there was just one niggling thing that kept arising, and I kept saying over and over, like, I don't like this, I don't want this, I don't want to do this, I don't want to have to do with this. Like, I just felt like I was saying words and they were not being heard, you know. And I feel like the person I was dealing with, I know they have a lot going on in their life. I know that their mind is all over the place thinking of all of this stuff, and they have a lot of responsibilities. I understand that. So I don't want to put like more on them. But at the same time, if you're going to interact with someone, it's a two-way street, and I was willing to do a lot. But what I was most willing to do, they were not interested in, and they kept wanting me to do something I really didn't want to do. And the reason why I don't do it is because I don't know about it, and I haven't educated myself about it, because I don't want to know. It's not something I care about. It's not something I use. It's not something that I personally would involve myself in. So when they kept trying to like make me be in that, and then it was like enticement, and then the thing I didn't want to do, and then enticement, and then the thing I didn't want to do, like over and over and over. And in every instance, I was like, I want to help you, but not this way. I want to help you, but I don't want to do this. I hate this. This is making me stressed out. And I couldn't understand why they wouldn't accept that, and they kept returning to that sore subject, because it's something they're dedicated to, and I'm not saying it's unimportant, but I have my own sort of charitable things that are important to me, and mine are not theirs. But I did try to help, and it was hard, probably because I didn't want to be doing it, but also because it was doing something that I don't feel that I'm good at, and I was like under stress to do it and expected to do it fast, and like it just wasn't going fast, and every time I do it, it was just messing up, and I was like, God, why do you want me to do this so much? I'm gonna make you look bad. And also my energy on this thing you care about, it doesn't feel good to have it. I don't want to add it to your thing or apply it to your thing, but I really didn't ever say that to the person. I didn't get to, because it's just the way things were going. And I suppose I could have stuck it out and could have continued on doing this thing that I kept saying I don't want to do, and because I knew there was other stuff I could do instead toward the same end. I just wasn't being offered the opportunity. This person had it in their head that like if I did this enough, I'd get comfortable with it or something, which is true, but I wouldn't like it. I would resent it because I had to go through what felt like hell to learn how to do it. And then also expectations happening concurrently while I'm doing it. Like, are you done? Can you send it? Where is it? And I was like, I don't even have that information yet, and it just was like unsettling is a word we both came up when we were speaking to each other, and we didn't consent to each other. We both said it, and I was like, look at this synchronicity. Why can't this work? Dang it. And I was just like, you know what, though? I'm not going to force myself into some situation that I already know I'm not suited for, that I don't want to do. I tried to learn it. I don't feel better about it. Like everything I said. And I would get answers like, okay, yes, I'm sorry, I understand what you mean, I misunderstood, blah, blah, blah. But then like 2 seconds later, they'd be back asking me to do the same thing. And I was like, I gotta nip this in the bud, because if it's just gonna perpetuate like this, I can't go forward in this thing that I dreamed of with this person I dreamed of. And my dream came true, but not quite the way I wanted it. So I made a sacrifice, and I'm not super thrilled about it, but I have to think about my own sanity, and part of it was like it made me feel insane to do the thing I didn't want to do, and the other part was the person expecting me to just keep doing it. And it was like they thought like that Seinfeld thing with Costanza, like if they just do it often enough, or if I just make them do it over and over, it'll be fine, and they'll just like it, or it'll be like, I don't know. But that didn't that didn't happen, because I'm not doing that to myself. Part of the thing about the situation is the person has a high public profile, and you get a lot of people that are falling all over themselves to do whatever you want. And you also have this sort of instantaneous sort of feature to things that happen in your life. Like, things happen a lot faster. People are there to give you what you want, what you've asked for, in a fat hurry because of who you are. And I'm like, that ain't gonna work here. I ain't doing that for you. So sorry if I'm not just making it snappy and learning the thing exactly the way. And yes, I agree. The person said, you know, you should have this by now. And I'm like, I agree. And since I don't, can you please stop asking me to do it? And they made sounds like they affirmed that for me. But then, like a goldfish, 5 minutes later, they're like, can you do the thing? And I'm like, no, I can't even do this anymore. Sorry. And I had to, like, sever the connection because I wasn't gonna enter into something where the only way forward was for me to do something I was utterly loathing to do and dreading. It's like, no, that is not gonna create a healthy relationship. Which, I mean, it was over. It started and was over so fast. I don't know what could have been and where it could have gone, but whatever, it was terminated because I just, late in life, I had to install boundaries and then stick to them. So, I'm not entirely happy, but what I will say that is probably most important of all is that I was fortunate enough to get to meet the person I wanted to meet and say the thing that I actually wanted to say for, well, since 2015 when I spoke to them initially. So I have spoken to them another time briefly, and that was blowing up because there was another woman sort of going nuts in their life. Different thing. Like, I wasn't like fighting with someone over this person. I was fighting what they were trying to get me to do because I just did not have the aptitude for it. But that they did not want what I had to offer, really. Like, seriously, like, not in the same way with the same passion as they had for trying to make me do this other thing over and over. And that made me sad because I couldn't go on. I couldn't go forward, like, doing this thing that I was hating, and I didn't want to start hating the person, you know, around all of that. So, I mean, there was a lot of reasons for me to decide to make that sacrifice. And I really wanted to read the cards about it, like, even like the before feeling and the after, but that is not, that reading is not in the cards. So, I was shuffling and nothing came flying out. Well, now my throat chakra is screwing up. I'm gonna pull one card. And only one came, nothing stuck to it, so it is a one card. Let me stick these back in the box real quick. Or a little bit slowly. Why are you fighting me? Come on. You know, and the sad thing is that the whole time I'm doing this other thing with this person, we're doing all of the things that Mercury in retrograde, they're like, don't do these things. And I'm like, everything we're trying to do, it already has my energy of I don't want to do it and I don't feel confident about doing it. Mercury's in retrograde. Like, you know what? You ain't supposed to be doing it anyway. So, but you can't leave everything alone just because that's happening. Like, business people have to conduct business. So, yeah. Oh, great. One of the cards I pulled yesterday was number 20. And I pulled today 21. What was 20 again? Can't believe I forgot. I was already looking at it. I think it was Feast of Plenty. But we'll see. Okay, well, here's the one I need now. 21. And 20 was Oh, duh. 20's out. Feast of Plenty. Okay, so... God, all these guys are all mixed up now. So First Breath, number 21, is the card I pulled in. The subtitle is Beginner's Mind. So there's some planets here, and you can see there's a woman, and she seems to have on some sort of tribal makeup, and she's standing. You can see her legs and her garb, whatever that is, some kind of long dress. And she's sort of juggling, or she's got her arms moving amidst all these planets. And there's that brightly lit mist that you can't really see into, which to me signifies something like in the future that we are unable to see coming because it's in the future. I'm going to need to read what the guidebook says, but I have a feeling that, like, something about her and these planets has to do with, like I said, like newness, and I guess that has to do with the beginner's mind, but like unborn possibilities, unillustrated. Like, you just don't know. It's fuzzy, it's unknown, it's unclear. It may not have even resolved in the future of the timeline at the time where we join it. So if it's, you know, so young that it's basically like fetus or pre-fetus or whatever, something unformed. So I'll read from the guidebook. First breath, a fresh start and renewed curiosity, natural trust, beginner's mind. When the first breath card shows up for you, it is time to leave the old stories and tales behind. You have arrived. Take a deep breath and another. There is nothing else you need to do but take in the new world that is revealing itself around you. Trust your natural curiosity. There is no need to dwell on how difficult the journey has been or how tight the passage to get to where you are now. Just take it all in and experience the awe and wonder of your arrival at this destination. Even if it is a familiar place you have come to many times before, try to experience it for the first time, for you are renewed, and the old you is no longer your concern. That is kind of a difficult place to be, because we do get stuck on our past stuff, our regrets, our resentments, you know, our grudges. And none of that is good to be dragging around behind us and weighing us down and coloring our thinking and sort of interfering with whatever newness is on the way. You're almost creating a resistance to it by still holding on to stuff from the past. And if it's not even like good, happy memories, that's even worse to be holding on to. Practice the beginner's mind, not labeling or naming what you see and experience. That situation that was so difficult only a few days ago, just be with it and breathe. You have already gone beyond it, have overcome and resolved it. Even if no one realizes this yet, soon enough they will as you move on. Do not squander the power of first breath, giving the old narrative mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Use it for new beginnings to animate the world you can play and create in. Do not underestimate the power of your breath and the magic of the world. They put the breath part all the way at the end. So, the breathing has been very helpful over the past, I don't know. It's like since I figured out how to do it and make it mean something or do something, and that's gonna sound strange to someone who has not practiced conscious breathing, but it's a like you have to build up to it. I didn't notice a difference right away. I had to do it for probably a few months before something clicked and I was able to move into this whole other sort of consciousness space, and it's I love it. It's like floating above the ground. You're still really close to it, so you feel what you felt when you were on the ground, but this is different. I felt like I was floating. And the more I do it, the more it develops. It's very interesting. So it's not just our breath that's powerful, it's our words. And I'm wondering if that wasn't why I haven't been able to get that other video out, because it was very raw. Like I didn't hold back. I didn't try to pretend like I don't have emotions and I don't feel stuff. With all of the interruptions, like every time it was like, like really? Now? Like it was like comical until I got to the end and was going to watch the playback, and I've done this a million times, hit the pause button and come back. For some reason, I hit the pause button and it stopped every time. So after the first time I did it, every other time they came after, I thought I was pausing and I was talking and talking and talking. Nothing was recording. And I'm sitting right here looking at the number ticker or whatever the heck you call this thing. And I'm thinking it's going. Yeah, it was going. I didn't notice that it was starting off at 0 again. So that was, yesterday and today, trying to get my phone to let me record it, and my phone kicking me off, even though, from what I can tell, there's room on the SD card and there's storage. Like, there's no reason that it should be letting me record for 14 minutes and then kicking me out. And at that point, I'm well into what I'm saying, and I'm not going to recover what I said. Like, I could have gone back and looked at it and written it down like, oh, I said this, it was great. No, I like the spontaneous in the moment. So I lost good stuff, but I gotta chalk it up to another experience that I'm grateful for. I don't feel happy about it though. This is just depressing. But I'm gonna go ahead and read the next card. I'm not satisfied with this. I wanted to do something else, but that's the thing I'm seeing. Like, what I want, I ain't getting. I wanted this other thing to work out. It had to have this one feature that I couldn't deal with, and so I couldn't go forward with the ideal situation that I asked for. Is this me screwing it up, or is it just meant to be that way? I don't know. I can be grateful that I wasn't like a mess and totally depressed and crying, which is an improvement that I've worked on, because I could, in the past I would have probably been upset about this for maybe months. It was a great get and now it got lost. Like, that's, I can't even be disappointed because that doesn't do me any good. The best thing I can do is just be grateful that I got to have the experience, that I got to have the second opportunity to speak with this person and finally say at least part of what I wanted to say. I prayed on it. I will pray on it again because I would like another opportunity. I feel like I made it so that there wouldn't be another chance for an opportunity to happen. I definitely put an end to it, but I'm going to pray for another opportunity. And like, I made it so that they shouldn't approach me. Like, I made it pretty clear, like, don't contact me. But if a way arises that I can somehow speak to them again, I'm not going to apologize. I don't feel like I have anything to apologize for, but I would hope that maybe after some time passes, they also have had some thoughts on the situation and the thing is what they were wanting me to do, they're very passionate about, and I want to help. That has been like my main goal. I just wanted to help the way I wanted to help, and they were not interested, which made it difficult for me. But it wasn't a situation where like I had to like leave or anything. That it wasn't that at all. Like my leaving, like that was my decision to make that sacrifice, and I'm not 100% happy about it, but I was definitely not going to allow the situation that was happening to perpetuate, because it just wasn't good. Like there needed to be two-way communication, and I don't have the existence, and this person didn't originally, but they built up sort of this empire for themselves. They definitely have like a small civilization of their own, and I wanted to be a part of it on a creative level, but what they wanted me to do was not my idea of creativity. And they said that this was their world, and I'm like, yeah, but it ain't mine. Like, I know my strengths, and this ain't one of them. And everything that had to do with that I was expected to do, involved me doing something I was not comfortable with, I was not happy doing. It was just like, see what I'm saying? So, had I stayed, I would have just remained in that unhappy place. And so, as of yesterday, it's over. Except for the feelings and the talkings. But like I said, in the past, this would have been way more upsetting. I would have had way more things to hang on to it, to be also upset about, and just add to it when it helps nothing, really. You know? And I don't feel negative about the situation. Like, I really love this person, so it's hard. But I'm praying that we'll have another opportunity, and maybe, you know, when that eventuality takes place, they will be able to consider my position a little more clearly, or maybe just understand that, like I kept trying to say, maybe we just don't do that. We don't talk about that. We don't make that a part of the you and I thing. I mean, I wasn't the only one, and it made me wonder too, like, does everyone have to go through some sort of initiation with you? What is your problem? You treat all of the women that you end up interacting with this way? Do they have to go to work for you first? Like, I felt like that was off, you know? But I feel like this person was testing me both for, like, could I be trusted? Which I understand in their position. Like, I did grow up in Hollywood. I do have an idea of, like, what people go through once they gain the level of fame that this person has. Like, you have a lot of hungry eyes and hands all the time. And I'm not looking to have anything of, like, I don't want money from them. I'm not trying to go, like, horn into their life. Like, I'm not trying to go there and like, I don't have to be physically placed right beside them to validate myself. Although I wouldn't mind that, not the being beside them in public, but just like being at their side. That is one of the things that I wanted, and I had that opportunity. I just didn't want to do it that way, and I just didn't trust it, because I felt like, why? I've never have I had to, like, complete a task in that situation over and over, and it was just like something was off about it, and I couldn't get a straight answer, and there was a lot of things. So I just felt like, yeah, it's probably a better idea to just nip this in the bud, and that's it. What it has to do with the rest of the world, I don't know. I don't even know if I'm going to publish this. Shoot. What we have in the United States right now is, I almost want to say it's like a birth situation where whatever child is going to be born out of this current time of the two parties that we're stuck with fighting with each other, and it so much. I'm so tired of it. There was a debate, I guess last night or the night before, and it's for the Republicans. I guess the Democrats are just like, we got Joe Biden, no one else is going to get a chance to even try, which is shitty. Sorry, but it is. But they like to do that. They like to, the Democrats, they like to make a big fuss asking you for money and, oh my God, I need your help so bad, the deadline. And 6 months later, the same commercial is going, when was that deadline? It's like, yeah, you're hard to believe anymore. Because all you care about is money constantly, and either they're fighting with the other side and they just seem like they're trying to sink everything. They don't seem like they're trying to accomplish anything except like tax cuts for rich people, which doesn't help anybody but those rich people. Like, there's a whole bunch of more other people that are not getting that same break. But if you do get a break and you're that not rich person, my God, the right makes a major frickin' case about it. But never if it's the other way with the rich people. Like, they can, and they take more money out that does more harm to, like, the country as a whole, especially financially, than the other thing where, you know, tax cuts for rich is okay, and that's hundreds of thousands of dollars that the government is giving these already rich people for what? What? Just because they're rich? Because that's what it seems like. You're rich, so you deserve a tax cut. Why? Because you're rich. Because you deserve a tax cut. But why? Because you're rich. Like, that's what it seems like. It's like a circular stupidness. And then, you know, they give a little money to the citizens to help during, like, the time in COVID where nobody was working and making any money, or the time after COVID when the companies were just inflating the price of things, even after their excuses for, like, supply chain issues and stuff like that could no longer be the case. Like, it just became plain and obvious that they wanted to charge more because they could. Like, we don't have a lot of options. I think like 4 people own like all of the companies that make everything we use in every instance of life gross, because they are some of the people that want to control all these other people. And it's like, man, tend your own garden. That is so ugly. That is so selfish. That's so weird. Like, mind your business. But that's what we have. That's our country. Like, everything's transactional, including this relationship I was talking about. Personally, I was like, is the relationship contingent on me doing this? No, it's not. And then 5 minutes later, they're asking me to do it again. So I'm wondering, is that true that it's not contingent on it? Or is just everything a transaction to you? Neither of those work for me, because I would say if I had a stripe politically, it wouldn't be Democrat or Republican for sure. I bristle at being called a liberal because what I think that means does not constitute my beliefs, and I'm not on the right at all. I'm an anti-capitalist. How about that? I am a human patriot because I believe in the patriots. I'm a patriot for humans, for humanity. I'm not a patriot for the right or Trump or the left or what, any politician. Like, that's just baloney. You know who, like, is the most truthful and brings it home to me, like, every time as real as ever, is me. Like, you can't get, like, a truth hardly out of other people, especially in the political realm. And so I feel like we just have to approach every situation like it's a new baby that has been born, and we don't know the character of the child or maybe even the name yet, but we know that we got to get them raised up and moving through life and the system. I feel bad for these new kids though, because they don't get to. They got so many people making decisions for them and saying stuff that affects their life, and they get no say until they're older. And that's just the way it goes. But I just feel like the stuff that the adults are saying is so much crazier than when I was younger, and I've had a lot of years to view attitudes and This is some of the worst stuff I've ever seen. Like, I don't understand. I feel like I know what's driving a lot of people to do the things they're doing that strike me as wrong, but that's their path, that's their deal. It's really not asking for my opinion, honestly. But we do have to, like, deal with these people in our lives and what they do, and we have to pay attention if they're not doing the things that they campaigned promised and or have agreed to or that need to be done. Then we really do have to stay on them. And it's more than just voting, because that's not sufficient. There are too many ways for us to vote and then have that screw up on us and turn out to be not at all what we were expecting. Like the unrequited campaign promises, for one thing, but then like the other stuff that goes on. I have a tendency to say, like, the right does this and the right does that. It's not just the right that does things, the left does things too. They do them differently. And I do have a bias to the left because their policies are more in alignment with how I feel things should be. But I don't think they're perfect either. I think that they have a very transactional nature to how they do things. And I don't know how it becomes like this amnesia that the race in the last presidential election was going some way, and certain people were in certain positions as far as polling, and the two people that are our president and our vice president were not featuring. They were like the lowest scorers, and all of a sudden the guy that I voted for, Bernie Sanders, who was doing so well that even got Republicans, which I thought the Democrats wanted, they tossed us aside just like Obama did us. And we're like, I don't know what they did to Bernie Sanders. He's still there doing what he can do, but they talked him out of, like, accepting the presidency that he had earned through votes. Like, they just came in and were like, and the they I'm referring to has got to be the Democratic committee, and not to mention the actual Democratic politicians. It's not like that's a vacuum. I'm sure they have to do with whatever the committee has to say too. But they just like erased Bernie and then stuck in Biden and Harris, and they were at like 2 and 4%, and Bernie was doing so much better. And now they act like, I heard one person that has a channel on YouTube say, because he's a real Biden booster and he gets real mad if people don't like what he's doing, but tough titty guy, a lot of people don't like Biden. That's why the previous 2 times he didn't get elected, and this time he didn't either. It was, you want a rigged election? That was rigged. They just fully, the Democratic National Committee or whatever, the DCCC, went in and just decided over all of the votes that you nagged everybody to make for your people and just switched it. And then so this guy with this show is like, Biden kicked their butt. He didn't kick anybody's butt. There was no butt kicking. They were at 2 and 4. Kamala was 2. He was 4% in the polls. Lowest of low. They kicked no butts. The DNC came in and elevated them into a position. That is not the same as a butt kicking. So, like, amnesia has happened too. There's a lot of us that have to resolve things, and it would be great if we actually did get to do it. Like I said, like, the votes pointed to one thing, in the DCC or whatever the hell they're called just decided that they knew better. So I resent them asking me anything now, either party. I don't want anything to do with them. But if I don't vote, then I get all kinds of messages saying, you vote, 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 vote. So then I vote. None of this is ideal to me, but no one's asking my opinion, so you're welcome. We have to, all of that stuff I set aside, we have stuff coming that we need to deal with. And each situation is going to require a first breath of a beginner's mind, because we will be approaching situations and people, I guess, in ways that we haven't had to before. And like I mentioned about the birthing period, like not the actual part that it's hard and painful where the baby is actually exiting the womb, but the gestation part. Like, I feel like we're still there and we're struggling through a transition where people want to retain what was the way things were done in the past, and it's like this total like clashing resistance point of people that want to move forward and go ahead and try and fail and find out if things we haven't done before work. Because how are we gonna like try and direct what we're doing to deal with something we haven't done before as if we've done it before? Like, you can't go in and be all, you can't do this and you can't do that if you don't know. So we have to try and fail, but we do that all the time. Like the situation we have now politically across the board, somebody's not happy about something. So what we're doing doesn't work for everybody on some level, which to me the obvious thing is figure out some way that does work for everyone, and not just the people, but we have to incorporate the world we live on that we're treating just horribly. We are of the planet. We eat what grows on the planet. We have the same metals that are in the planet in our bodies, and we have to eat the metals from the planet to replenish the metals from the planet that are in our bodies. We are so interconnected, so closely and tightly woven and meshed that we are inseparable, and yet we perpetuate in our minds this crazy idea that we are separate from the planet. It's like something we got out of a box at Amazon and it's disposable and we can break it and get another one. No, that is not the case. And also, we have to be able to live on and from this planet that we're poisoning and destroying, and I don't know what's going to make people care. Apparently fires and floods burning you up and drowning you ain't doing it. Hurricanes ain't doing it. I don't know what it's going to take. All I know is that eventually we're going to reach a point. It's going to be like I can't think of the word and I don't want to have to look it up. There's going to be a line we're going to cross eventually where we're going to have to do something. And I hope that there are enough of us thinking about that that's coming, because eventually the fighting's going to end, and it like doing something is going to be the main priority. We should be thinking about that ahead of time. And on every level, like, I'm not a scientist, I don't know what they're going to come up with to contribute, but I know that, hi kitty, whatever little I can do, I'm going to do. And I don't know, buckle your seatbelt, I guess, because we don't even know what's coming, but it's going to be exciting if now is an indication. Thank you and good night. Oh, there we go.